Hello and welcome again. We were in the middle of doing subnetting for class C. We were up to this stage where we were building the network address. We stopped there, and now we're going to continue to build the network. So we were here, we answered the first question, the second question, we were on the third, and we said we're going to discuss how we build a network, and we said this is network, only one network, and we call it network 1. So if we call here network address, apologies from the bad handwriting, and this is broadcast address, that will be your starting point, which is the 0 over there. So this is going to be 192.168.1.0, and I will put it here 192.168.1.0. and then in this block you see it's ending at 255, and we know the class started from 0 and it's 256. So if you start from 0, it ends at 255. That's going to be your broadcast address, and we write down 192.168.1.255. in between now you have how many lines? 254 lines. Then you can create a spreadsheet, and in the spreadsheet you can build numbers, 254 numbers in between. And if you are a network administrator of a company or an organization, then this will be your network documentation, the starting point, where you will have your assets and their IP addresses and how they are mapped. So the first network, let's call it first IP, first address. And when I say first address, it's the first valid address. This is first address for the network, but it's invalid to use it for networking subnets, for networking hosts and adding as IP addresses. We cannot use that. This is the first one we can give to a router, to a PC, to a laptop, to a phone, whatever device that needs an IP. So that will be 192.168.1.1, and then the next one will be .2, the third one will be .3, the fourth will be .4, and then it continues up to the last one is 254. And if you go to the second, this is number 2, number 3, number 4, and then we continue with dots, and this will give us the last usable, and it's going to be 192.168.1.254. Now if I ask you a question and I say, what subnet is this IP part of? 192.168.1.213, and it is /24. Simple and really easy. It's class C, and it is the part of the network that starts from 192.168.1.0/24 and ends at 192.168.1.255/24. This is the end and this is the beginning, and you know this falls in that network. But what about if this changes and it becomes a /25? And that's what we are going to look in this example. This is now different, and it has a /25, but what we're looking at is class C. And the first thing to do is first identify what class we're dealing with. It says class C here, but again, from the previous video, we said on the first octet you see the range, and if it's between 0 and 127, that's class A. If it's between 128 and 191, that's B. And if it's between 191 to 223, that's class C. And this shows you it falls in this range. And now that's class C. We know it's class C, but what do we know about class C? Class C, originally it has to be /24. And that means the first octet is N, second is N, third is N, the last one is H. And the N means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for the next one. And the third one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the last one, all 8 zeros. So that gives you 8 over here, 8 over here, 8 over here, and a 0 here. And if you combine them, that will be /24. But the problem we have, it's not anymore 24, it's 25 in this example. And this will be different. So to get 25, we have to have the 24 first and borrow 1 from there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then borrow 1 from here, 1, and then the rest are zeros. So if you see, we've got 8 here, 8 here, 8 here, and a 1 here. If you combine, that gives you 25. But this one now changed from 0. It would have been 255, 255, 255.0, but it's not 0 anymore. So what we have actually is 1 and 7 zeros, and we know that gives you 128. Please go back to other videos where I discussed the binary to decimal conversion. It will show you how to do that. 128, this is our mask. So this mask, we're going to use it in the first question. And to answer the first question, it says, answer these questions if you want to do subnetting. What's the block size? How many subnets? And how many valid hosts per subnet? Whatever subnets you find, is it 1? How many subnets in there? How many IPs in there, I mean? And if there are 2, how many IPs in each subnet? Use this formula. First identify where are the 1s, where are the 0s. Then use this formula, 2 to the power of n, 2 to the power of h minus 2, and then you can build your address. So the block size, 256 minus mask. So here we have the first question we're going to answer is the block size. Let's call it BZ. And the block size is 256 minus. And what is the mask? We have the mask here, which is 128. If you subtract the 2 from each other, that's 128. The second question is, where is n? How many n's do you have? In here, you got 1 n, which is that one. And h is equal to 7 of them here. Then you calculate the formula, which is 2 to the power of n, which means 2 to the power of 1, and that's 2. That means 2 subnets. Okay? And then the second one is 2 to the power of h minus 2, which is 2 to the power of 7 minus 2. 2 to the power of 7 gives you 128. And if you subtract 2, that gives you 126 valid hosts. That means 126 IP addresses, laptops, PCs, routers, switches, whatever device you have, valid hosts. Now, the other question we need to answer over here is, if you go back, this might be your plan when you're doing subnetting. We answered that. What is the network? Start with the first and the last, and then fill what's in between. So what you need to know is, number 3 is calculating the networks. How many subnets you have? We have 2 here. So we can build a block like this, and that block can have 2 networks. And the first one, we call it network 1, and the second one, network 2. But we also need to create the first network IP and the last network IP. So if you combine them here, you will have, and we'll put a nice table after this, but for now, we just need to grab the idea. So we call it subnet 1. Let's call it subnet 1, and this is subnet 2. And that it is network address, net address, and this is the broadcast address. Okay, so the network starts from here, 192.168.1.0. And then if it is 2 networks, I will get a block, and that block will be 0 to 255, but also starting from 1 to 256. If we divide by 2, it's going to be 128 and 128. So that will start from 10 to 127, and then starting from 128 up to 255. So this one will end at 127, and this one will be 192.168.1.128, and it will end at 255. The rest you can fill what's in between. So the first IP and the last IP, and then in between you can continue. So the first one will be 1.1, the one before that will be 126, the one before this will be 254. Okay, that's all. Thank you again, and see you in another video.